Joining us right now is Fox News senior judicial analyst, Judge Andrew Napolitano. And, Judge, we keep asking this same question.
Right.
Why is the Ninth Court so influential in the whole country?
The Ninth Circuit, because the president's opponents file their complaints in California since they know that an overwhelming majority of federal judges there are likely to resist the president. So there's a couple questions here. One, was a federal judge in California authorized to restrain the president nationwide? Answer, yes. Now, that is a rarely exercised power. Usually you restrain the president or you restrain the defendant just in the area where you sit. But when the defendant or his agents are present nationwide and you believe the defendant is engaging in unconstitutional behavior, which is what this judge found, I don't agree with him, but did he have the authority to enjoin the president? He did. Then the president said, we have to make these laws based on love, and I'm going to let Daca stay in place. Then the president's lawyers advised him, if you don't appeal this, you are sending the wrong signal to the court that maybe you really are ambivalent about exercising these powers. So they filed the appeal yesterday. They bypassed your least favorite circuit court, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and went directly to the Supreme Court. That is very rare, and 99% of the time you do that, the Supreme Court says go to the circuit court first. But on every single, without fail, immigration case that has started in California Federal District Court and gone to the Ninth Circuit and gone to the Supreme Court has reversed the Ninth Circuit. So the Justice Department is saying, we want to go to you directly because we need an answer right away. I can't predict what the Supreme Court is going to do.
Well, when is the Supreme Court going to hear this and decide all this?
Entirely up to them, Kevin. If it had gone to the Ninth Circuit, they have a short window in which to rule. But because it goes to the Supremes, they can sit on it for as long as they want. In the meantime, the federal district judge's order stays in place. And if you are in this category of 800,000 of pretty much Americanized people, but born in another country and came here as babies, you can apply for the DACA protection. Now, that DACA protection is for a year. If you apply and get it, then it's another year before the president can invalidate it.
Yeah. We got to get to a couple of different issues because we also want to talk about sanctuary cities with the judge. But first this, an oversight hearing on border security took a real turn yesterday. I want to get your take. Senators began grilling DHS Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen over her role in last week's White House immigration meeting. New Jersey Democrat Cory Booker hit her especially hard, yelling at her after she said she did not recall President Trump's vulgar language reportedly used during the meeting. Watch this.
Your silence and your amnesia is complicity. I don't know if 73% of your time is spent concerned about the people in fear in communities in this country. I hurt. When Dick Durbin called me, I had tears of rage when I heard about this experience in that meeting. And for you not to feel that hurt and that pain and to dismiss some of the questions of my colleagues, saying I've already answered that line of questions when tens of millions of Americans are hurting right now because of what they're worried about what happened in the White House. That's unacceptable to me.
Goldman Sachs numbers are out. We're going to get them in a minute. They're better than expected. Judge, who did he think he was talking to? Talking to the Secretary of Homeland Security, putting on a show like that. That was outrageous.
He was talking to his political base in New Jersey, and I think it probably resonated with him. Now, I've known Senator Booker for many, many years, and this is the way he is. It was over the top. It was loud. It was disrespectful. This is what happens occasionally when cabinet members clash with a member of Congress in the opposite party. I'm not surprised to see it. That's the way he operates. He assures himself of re-election with his base in New Jersey.
Yeah, but Judge, in an era where you have men behaving badly and all of this harassment going on, to speak to a professional woman, and she's sitting there and he's yelling at her like she did something, is just terrible.
You know, she burst the bubble with just one or two words, which might have followed his ranting and raving. Something like, you know, I'm trying to answer your questions. I didn't come here for that, which is pretty bold of a person to say to a senator. Now, under the law, she does have to answer to that committee. She doesn't have to tolerate that behavior.
She doesn't have to tolerate yelling. Was he harassing her?
Oh, Absolutely. He was aggressive.
I think he was.
He was verbally abusive. I mean, this guy, I would love to see, you just had Mark Short on talking about how so many terrorist threats and people were coming in on these immigration programs. Where is this level of passion and just defense of the American citizen coming from Cory Booker? I didn't see any
Where's
of
the
that.
passion about Kate Steinle's death? How about that?
Senator Booker was not in the room when the president said whatever he said or didn't say whatever some people said he said. But she was. Now, I wasn't there. I don't know what he said. And
That
Senator
doesn't
Booker,
justify that kind of hostility toward her.
So he's
I
getting
agree, I agree with you, but I feel differently about this because I know him so well. He's such a likable person, and he's doing this for political reasons, not for any male, female
So
animosity.
what's Kirstjen Nielsen supposed to say? Oh, okay, so then I'll just be your punching bag for an hour.
Unfortunately, that's part of the job. I couldn't take it myself.
I don't think
but
that
it
should
is
be part of the job. I don't think that's part of the job. I'm outraged by it.
Republicans have done it to Democrats
He's
as
talking
well.
about emotion. He's like tears of rage and all this. Like, okay, the whole point of being a senator is that you look at facts objectively. You make hard policy choices. You don't cry. You're not a crybaby. Again, if this was happening where a Republican male was yelling at a Democratic liberal female, the double standard would be just
Well,
definite.
you have a very good point about the double standard, but no senator is perfect, and they all sometimes play to the base at home.
And the only reason he did this is
Understanding
because it
him,
was public, not a private
That's
hearing.
the
If it
only
was a
reason
private
he did
hearing,
it, because
would
the
have
cameras
never
were
said
rolling.
this. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Well, look, he gets his 15 seconds of additional fame. He gets us talking about him, and this resonates for
But
him.
isn't it a distraction from the,
don't
what
think it
the real
resonates.
issue is, from the real question he wanted to ask? He hardly asked a question.
Women everywhere should be upset by
I
that.
don't know what the real question was, whether it was the president used this phrase that the president now says he didn't use, and some senators say he did, and some senators say he didn't. That's what he was trying to get her to
No,
acknowledge.
I'm with you,
He was
Maria.
basically saying, how could you forget what happened 2 days ago? When
He
it was
is
so
in no role to
controversial?
yell at her. If she doesn't
happens
recall,
all-
she doesn't recall.
it happens-
He's not any bigger than she is. She to belittle her like that.
It happens all the time. I mean, look at the way Eric Holder was treated by the Republicans in this very same committee, just as aggressively.
But to be Machiavellian, it doesn't work. You know, it doesn't.
It works depending upon what your goal is. If your goal is to resonate the base at home, it works. If your goal is to get her to change her mind, it doesn't work.
Well,
No, well, at
it
this
happens
point-
all the time. Have you heard of hashtag Time's Up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Andrew Napolitano.
Am I coming back?
We love you. Thank you so much, Judge Napolitano. Let's